Good morning. This is the Board of County Commissioners Board Work Session. It is Thursday, August 24th, 2023. It is 9:04 a.m. This session is set to go until 9:30 a.m. This is a hybrid meeting. We're at 3000 Pacific Avenue Southeast, room 110. For public virtual attendance, you may follow along on the Thurston County YouTube channel. I'm Carolina Mejia. I'm the chair of the board. Vice Chair Ty Minster is in the boardroom, and Commissioner Gary Edwards should be joining us here shortly. We also have in the boardroom County Manager Ramiro Chavez, as well as Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell and Assistant County Manager Rob Gelder. And the topics for today's agenda is the Solid Waste Advisory Committee membership ordinance change.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioners, good morning. At this point, I will give the floor to Jeff Bickford to introduce our guest and go through the briefing this morning.
Good morning, Jeff Bickford, Solid Waste Manager for the Public Works Department. I have Amanda Romero. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Amanda Romero, Senior Program Manager for Public Works Solid Waste Division.
And Renee.
And I'm Renee Radcliffe Sinclair, the current chair of the Solid Waste Advisory Committee.
Thank you. So the reason we're here today is we, as you would think, we were reviewing the ordinance that related to the membership of the Solid Waste Advisory Committee. And there was a couple of items that needed to be updated, and they related to first, as you know, well, let me go back up. So the way our membership is formed is based upon section 8.22.10, as far as creation of membership in county ordinance. And basically the membership for the SWAC consists of one county commissioner or their duly represented, appointed representative, one elected official from each of the 7 cities and towns within the county, one member from the Port Commission, a member representing private business, a waste collection and hauling representative, so somebody from the solid waste industry, one recycling industry representative, and 3 citizen representatives, one each from the unincorporated jurisdiction of each of the commissioner districts. So with the election this last fall, going from 3 to 5 members, what that would, if we were to follow the letter of our current ordinance, we would need to add an additional 2 citizen representatives. Additionally, as part of the membership, we are capped at currently at 15 members. So right away, and we are currently at 50 members based upon our current description. So that was going to put us afoul of the way our ordinance was currently set up. So additionally, there was one other issue related to our membership is RCW 70A.205.110 states that each SWAC should have a representative from the agricultural community. That was not in our ordinance, the agricultural representative. So for a while now, it's been at least a couple of years, we've actually had one member, one of our citizen members that's been taken on a dual role of agriculture as well as citizen representatives, because that would allow us to stay within that cap of 15 members. That's not optimum to have somebody serving. It's technically it's allowed, but it's not optimal because really you're looking for different voices and different opinions and perspectives. So this was an opportunity to look at our membership ordinance. So back at the January SWAC meeting of this year, we brought this information to the SWAC and to discuss how we would want to address potential change to ordinance to account for potential changing number of the overall size of the committee, particularly because given that new additional districts, or if they wanted to reconsider again how that group was formed. So after much discussion at their January meeting, staff came back at their, I believe it was the July meeting and the August meeting as well, with a couple of options for them to consider. And they discussed two of the primary options that they were looked at were increasing the SWAC to 16 members from the current number of 15, making the agriculture, adding the agriculture representative as required by the RCW, And then making all three, instead of being representative of the districts, because that would be having to add more, making those three current citizen members at large, instead of being representing districts, with the caveat that at-large members would have to be from three separate districts, so we didn't have any duplication of citizen members that way. The other option that they considered was leaving the SWAC at 15 members as it currently exists. Again, adding the agricultural representative to the roster and to stay at that size, reducing the citizen representatives from 3 to 2, again, making them at large, and once again, having them represent, as long as they represent different commissioner districts. So with that, I'll let Renee talk about their consideration and the discussion that they had.
Thanks, Jeff, and it's always a pleasure to join you. Thank you for this opportunity again. As Jeff noted, we started talking about this right after we convened in 2023, given the vote of our county in November of 2022 to add 2 commissioners. And the SWAC has been very thoughtful about this. As you can tell, we've spent several months on it. And when staff brought to us 2 options to look at, we then took 2 months with those 2 options. And by the time we got to the place of voting, it was a unanimous vote to go with the option that Jeff has just presented to you. Really with a lot of discussion about the ease of recruiting citizen members who have an interest in solid waste, and the ease of maintaining a quorum. And sometimes we do face challenges with that in the summer months in particular. And yet the folks who we have on the SWAC right now are very dedicated to being there, to participating in the discussion. So I really feel like we had a very robust review of our options. And by the time we were ready to make a decision, the group was unanimous in their decision.
And that choice was to maintain the 15.
15 member, yes, option
And then
2.
reduce from 3 to 2, because as she mentioned, by adding that additional person, you also increase the amount you need for a quorum. And as well as she also mentioned, that recruiting citizen members can be extremely challenging, so.
So we would have an agricultural member and then 2 at-large citizen members, with the caveat that they could not be from the same council or commission district.
Okay.
And I do want to mention that though we'd be going from 3 to 2 on the citizen members, the agricultural representative, the person that was doing double duty before was agriculture and citizen. He has been recently been reseated as agricultural, so he would just no longer be a citizen. So we would not actually, nobody would be cut from the council or the committee.
So it's just reorganizing the current structure, is that
Little
correct?
bit.
Okay.
Who's she running it? Madam Chair,
Go ahead, sir.
was there any talk of those folks that were maybe at large be from the rural part of Thurston County or the unincorporated area of Thurston County?
Exactly, it is an ordinance that way already, that it states specifically, it says 3, but it'd be 1 each from the unincorporated jurisdiction of each commissioner. So it would continue to be from the unincorporated.
Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Commissioner Munster?
This is probably a moot point because I think I'm going to be perfectly aligned with the SWAC's recommendation, but was that also true with option A, that the citizens have to be, the at-large citizens have to be from commissioner districts? That was written into both options, or was that only option B?
As far as.
I think you'd stated that they're going to be at large, but there's going to be a provision that they can't be from the same commissioner district. It could be just any other district that's not the same.
Correct.
That would be
Yeah,
the
so
same
in
under A.
both options, it was always going to be from, it had to be from,
No 2 from one district.
correct.
Okay, that was my only question. You guys sound like you really dialed it up, so appreciate it.
Are we doing this yet?
I don't know, Madam Chair, my
No,
questions.
we need to bring
Okay.
an ordinance for you consideration to change the.
Okay, well, I'm all
so
for
that
what the
will be
committee
next step.
recommends.
Correct, yeah, next steps will be this, since it's an ordinance change, it will come to a public hearing in front of the board, so it will still come back to you to make this official.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming in today and for presenting this. And okay, anything else?
I got a question.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
I'm just curious, Commissioner Edwards brought this up about unincorporated, like, what's the rationale for that? I'm just curious.
Well,
Because usually we say we want someone from the unincorporated, but I have never seen an ordinance where it said it can only be from the unincorporated when the issue is about, covers the whole county.
I believe the rationale behind that is each city has a specific elected representative, so it's just wanting, making sure that we have representation outside of those cities. Because each city provides a member, so from elected
Elected
officials.
officials.
Well, we have a commissioner.
It's trying to provide the best, most.
I'm just curious. I mean, I'm not against it. I was just
No.
curious kind of where it came from.
So at the same, before you close the meeting, ma'am, can we get, I don't know, a little tick of anything new going on besides this topic? I mean, how's things running and everything good?
So I think, oh,
Can
No?
we, County Manager, is that okay since it's not on the agenda?
No, that's okay. It's part of the solid waste.
Perfect.
So it should be okay. Thank you.
I just wanted to make sure. Okay, go ahead.
so, from the chair's perspective, I think, the committee's working very effectively together right now. We have really strong representation from most of the cities. And our citizen representatives right now are, and our business representative are surprisingly versed in the world of solid waste. You all did a nice job in selecting and appointing our current membership. We have a very solid relationship with staff. They're doing a great job supporting the work of the committee, and I think we're in a good place right now. It's been a lot of fun sharing the SWAC, and that's not something that I ever really expected to do. But because we've had such a good group that is so engaged, it's been a good experience.
What's been your hot topic that you've been working on?
So the renovations that are going to be happening at the WARC and the development of new facilities in South County. I personally self-haul, and so am keeping a close watch on what's happening at Rainier and Rochester in those drop box sites and what the future is going to look like there. It's an exciting time.
So on this satellite locations, two options, right? Upgrading the current two facilities or maybe consolidated one.
Yes, yeah.
And that's still kind of in the works, trying to
It
figure it all
is,
out, right?
yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
and they'll
it
be
is.
coming, those two issues will be coming back to the SWAC shortly, and then following that, coming back to you again as well shortly, so.
How about the change from one outfit to another? But when did that take place, in May or something?
May of this
May
year.
of
Yeah, so I mean, there's not been a lot of time went by, but everything going pretty
So
good. I
we
mean,
have been watching that too, and we recently had a report on that transition. And staff does a really nice job of keeping the SWAC very well informed on all of those topics. We're feeling, and I'm speaking on behalf of the committee now, because everyone has expressed to me how informed they're feeling right now, which I think is very healthy.
I mean, for me, the reason I ask that is I can recall, within a month or so, it seems like there was, I don't know, there wasn't enough containers or something was delayed. And there was some hangup somewhere along the line, and all those bugs have all now been worked out.
They seem to be, and
They're in process.
Yeah,
I mean, the
yeah.
recycling was, surprisingly, the recycling container issue was probably the one that caught us. You know, that was not the spot. I figured we were gonna have issues, but again, they're actively working on it, and we're continuously working on them to continue working on it.
And, you know, even the outfit, I've never truly understood who's who, because they were connected up so much, you know, and some similar names and things. But then we'd had a communication, somebody wasn't happy and everything, so that kind of worked out. I mean, we never did take that communication up, as far as I know. But
That's
it
a-
kind of died on the vine. and-
That's a conversation yet to come.
Yeah, so,
One issue that, since we're on solid waste topic, it's probably a Jeff question, but I'd taken a call from some folks who were, like, there was some changes, I mean, I think it was right after I'm talking about the South County drop boxes, and there were some like access issues, and then I had my assistant followed up, and it turned out Republic they were aware of it, and they were working on it, and then I just got like an email like a couple days ago. I don't think they were the same issues, but it was an elderly person that was having trouble. Like the new configuration created issues for them to like lift up, or they had to climb up a ladder or something.
Yeah.
So is that all still being sort of worked
We-
through?
we
We're
solved that.
continuing to work on that. They've actually now, as of about a week or so ago, have added a shorter bin that's particularly aimed towards less abled individuals, people that need assistance,
Okay, good.
as well as the attendant there that the Republic has a staff person at all three recycling areas that we have signs up that anybody who wants it, they're there to help, and they will actually unload it for you and load the bins. So, and we're staying on them on that one too, and that's really crucial.
how about the hours of operation? I've heard different ones, you know. I wanna
Hours
see
haven't,
that
they
expanded.
haven't changed.
They haven't changed.
No, but, I mean, is that a thought, or I don't know when they are, or I can't tell you about who complained about what, but it wasn't open.
It was mainly
Sunday
about,
or-
like I said, some of the access issues for folks that were less able to unload some of the recyclables, cardboard in particular. But again, that's something we've been
And
pushing on
Public
them. And
Works
they
was
can
very
change.
responsive to that comment almost immediately, so that was very appreciative. You know, just a comment related to the transition. From my point of view, I think it has been a very successful transition. Considering the magnitude of the operations, considering the magnitude of the contract, we knew there was gonna be some, you know, some issues that we need to resolve. But considering the magnitude of the issues we have seen, very successful, extremely successful transition.
It's been
So
very
thank you.
minor so far. And virtually any other issues have been behind the scenes that the public is not aware of. So again, the customer services, which is the key piece.
You know, there's been a lot of change since that RFP was put out. We've been through a pandemic, there've been supply chain issues. And given all of that, I agree with you that it's gone remarkably well. And we're not done.
No done.
We're not done, but it's been surprisingly efficient. And in regard to the accessibility issue, there is definitely a change. I'm not a kid, and yet I'm able to maneuver the new platform situation, but I can understand for someone with accessibility concerns why that would be a problem. So I'm really pleased to hear those issues are being addressed. But I have to say the cleanliness and just the general appearance of the Dropbox facilities is really so much better now than I think it was previously. So I really have appreciated just the neatness and the cleanliness of those facilities since the shift.
Oh, great.
So I'm really glad to hear the accessibility
Yeah,
issues are being
well,
addressed.
it's funny because both of the folks who reached out were, I mean, it was the kind of communication you don't always get, where it was like very like respectful, complimentary. They were like,
Yeah.
we love these Dropbox, they've always
Yeah,
worked for us, you know, and
yeah.
and we're happy with what's going on, but there's just this little, it'd be
Yeah.
a little better if we could
Yeah.
just, it's like, okay, let's
And
make that happen.
and who doesn't love that?
I know, yeah, it's like they're really, trying to point out what's working and, but making a good suggestion about the accessibility.
And that issue was only really at Rochester, wasn't it? The
It's been the primary location.
Rainier
which is-
one, it
it's-
seems like
The
that's
same
a little flatter.
situation's the same at both, but
They-
it seems like
yeah.
Rochester customers seems to be more of a concern for them.
Maybe higher
So,
volume.
It may be a different clientele that's
Okay.
frequenting that spot, but yeah, it's definitely different, but I do appreciate the look and the feel of the facility. It's nice, it's good.
The other key piece of that is the reason that Republic kind of went the way with the changes was before we were run out of capacity with the previous vendor, where they would actually, by Sunday midday, cardboard was full, and then people would come and they couldn't do their recycling. So they increased the amount of available capacity. So now at least, while there might be some challenges and that we're working through, we haven't run out of capacity to date. So again, we want to make sure that people, if they show up, that we can take care of them and they're not coming out getting frustrated because they can't recycle what they need to recycle.
Well, and that speaks to the cleanliness issue because there is capacity, there's not overflow. Yeah.
Of the municipal representatives on the SWAC, what proportion are elected versus designee?
I think pretty much I mean, occasionally a designee might show up. I believe all the ones that are all elected.
Yeah.
And if they can't make it a certain day, there's once in a while, they'll send a designee.
I've just, the way it was done in Kitsap was different. There were no electeds on the SWAC. It was just all, I mean, different jurisdictional representation, but not.
And just as a push, we still have a vacancy for the city of Rainier. That's all I mentioned.
No plug.
That's really interesting, Rob. But I do agree, going back to the SWAC, it really is an interesting group. You know, whenever my schedule allows and I've been able to attend those meetings, you know, I've always been impressed by the citizen reps and their knowledge on just these issues is just incredible and so helpful. So I'm just incredibly thankful for everyone who really is just really engaged in these conversations, because when Jeff and staff come in front of the board, right, I already have those conversations in my head, and so they're very useful. So I'm just very thankful. Okay, it is 9:25. Any additional comments or questions?
No, ma'am?
No.
Okay, thank you so much, Renee. Thank you so much, Jeff and Amanda, for coming here today and presenting to us. And we will be seeing an ordinance in the future, and we'll be setting a public hearing for this. So thank you. We're adjourned.